Welcome back to the Voice of Metal or Voices of Metal. Like I've talked about before, where we talk about all things metal, but also about actually the artists behind the music itself. Part of the reason why, and I want to explain this to everybody, this has been a long, very long and thought out process to point. Part of the reason why I did this because I enjoyed my conversations with different artists and different bands so far that I've been with. Um, and I know not everybody can afford to meet and greet, their favorite musicians backstage. And to me, this is one of those things that might help bridge that gap a little bit. Be on live, be online. Eventually, I'm planning on getting it all set up to where I will be able to interview people, and hopefully, I'll have some artists on here. Which this is the one thing that I started this for in the first place. Was the very first band I had actually did a meet and greet with, even though I could have seen and should have had the opportunity to meet James and the guys from Metallica years and years ago. I have been seeing some other bands before that. But what I'm trying to say is right now, the whole reason why and the main reason why is between Heidi, Carla, and all the guys in the band for the Butcher Babies. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing this right now. Um, well, to a point. It's a little of that, and it's a little bit of James Hetfield. Seeing his article and getting to talk to September Mornings group. Because I really got to know them. Actually, it was really cool because we were just talking like we would anybody else. We weren't having games and stuff like that. It was just a really good conversation, and I got to learn about the aspects of the music industry a little bit. I got to learn some of the music and processes they had and some of the things they enjoyed and liked. That was what intrigued me even more than anything else is when I was talking to them, I got to talk to each and every one of them. And actually it's funny, the I think it was the drummer from the band actually was standing right next to me at the one thing, just watching the music at the same time I was. And to me, that was just so phenomenal. I mean, I really appreciated it and liked it. And we were talking about this, that, and the other. I even talked to the lead singer of Above Snakes, which I do want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you. I do appreciate that. So if I ever get the lucky chance of actually talking to you again, either in person or online doing this, it's pretty be pretty awesome and an honor to do that, and along with other artists out there. But my main focus tonight, and I think part of it was a little bit of a, well, not a little bit, it was a major misunderstanding. And it's a little hard to convey the whole message on Twitter. So first of all, I'd like to apologize for any misunderstandings about the karma thing. I guess for me, I felt, and I'm not trying to upset Heidi because I think that's who I was talking to, or make her upset with me because I don't know she's there's been, let's put it this way, there's been some times I felt, not that I know of, I'm not assuming because I don't know her, like she said, that I know anything about them, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I mean, even if I don't know a person, you kind of have this gut feeling about when somebody reacts to you that you're assuming that certain things are a certain way, but you're not 100% certain. And maybe I was reading it wrong, but it seemed to me like I did my first real meet and greet with them face to face. It was a virtual one. It was on a Zoom call, which that was during the pandemic. I would have actually met them sooner than that, and I would have probably been on the bus in Greeley, Colorado, but I didn't because I was really tired. I had a long day that day, and I was afraid I would just fall asleep on them, which I didn't want to do. But I was so pumped full of energy from their wonderful performance that night. It was like one of the best times I've ever had with any concert I've been to, and I want them to know that, both Heidi and Carla and the band. And that's the other reason why I said what I said a little bit, because I kind of put my foot in my mouth but it was a misunderstanding. But it really wasn't geared towards that individual. It actually wasn't meant for Carla at all. It was actually meant for somebody else. Part of it, yes, it was because I wanted to ask her because I guess part of the reason why I'm saying that is because in the past when I was talking to her and Heidi in the band, which I was talking a little more to Carla because she's an artist like myself. And there's another reason behind this, and I'll get into that here in just a minute. Um, what it boils down to is I wanted to get to know more about Carla because I actually saw an ad. I'm not going to be specific with the ad. If she wants to talk to me about that, she can. She can feel free. It's up to her. I'm not saying we're going. It's not like a date or anything. I think that was a misunderstanding. I mean, I did find her a picture of her in her wedding dress, and she looked really beautiful in it. And I was paying her a compliment, but she might have taken that the wrong way, and I apologize. And also about other things too, I apologize for that. I don't apologize for how I feel, but part of the reason why the Butcher Babies themselves intrigued me, and I didn't even know that much about them. I had heard their music without actually seeing the band. I didn't know there was two singers in the band at the time. I could tell there was a little bit of difference in vocals, but it was pretty close on the one song I first heard them on. So I did some research, and it was just by chance, this is out of the blue, that I discovered them on, at the time it was it not YouTube? Yeah, it's YouTube Music now. It was Google Play Music or something before. But it was based off of my likes and interests. And like before, I've said that I'm pretty particular about music, especially when it comes to the vocals and the actual music itself. That's got to mesh well. To me, if you have a strong instrumental, you should have some strong vocals. And I was so impressed with the very first song. I had to listen to more, and after that, it was like I was hooked. I was pumped. I was energized by their music, the energy they were possessing, the vocals that they had. Then later on, I found out about who they were, the band members, and all this other stuff, and even some of the old stuff. So at the time when all this was going on, I think that the exact same time certain people were dating, her boyfriend. I believe that my dad wasn't doing so good. He was feeling, um, he wasn't doing the best. He was going through uh, some cancer and this, that, and the other. And it was kind of funny. I kind of reached out to say I wanted to meet them. I wanted to see them live and perform, but I couldn't make it because of the fact that my dad wasn't doing so good. And Carla reached out to me, and I still greatly appreciate that. It means so much to me that she did that, because that's what she does, and that's the thing that I've learned through Twitch myself personally. Um, she's a very kind, open, caring person, and I want to get to know that, I guess. But one of the things, well, that and she's highly intelligent. There's a lot of things that were going over time with the Twitch thing. I found out that there's a lot of things that are similar between the two of us. I think maybe not all of it. And I don't know her. Like she said, you don't know me as well as you think you do. You don't know me very well, which is probably true. I don't know that. Just like Heidi. I apologize to Heidi. So, I mean, I love talking to you too, it was really good. Now, there are some times that I felt like I was, when I was in the middle of the conversation, I felt like I was kind of like pulled away from it like twice. Um, so to me, I felt a little bit a certain way. And I guess when I saw how Heidi was treated, and I wanted her to know that's how I felt. I It wasn't so much I was insulting her. I wasn't trying to upset her in any way because she is a very good person. But I think sometimes I think we all get kind of our, for me especially, I get kind of to the point where I kind of say or do things that I regret doing and saying. Um, so you know how that is. I think we all do that, and that's part of the whole point is to try to get past those are, I say, things in life, or issues or problems with people in the past. Because I've had coworkers I've worked with, and even one was a boss that I didn't particularly care for. I kind of was hesitant about him coming back to where I was working at. And actually, he actually is starting so far to be doing pretty well. So we've been talking a lot more. We've gotten to know each other. Plus, he was also the one, which is crazy, that actually brought, basically he was really sympathetic about trying to get time to see my dad when he wasn't doing so good, when he was sick. And that was a big deal for me. And between him, Carla, and Heidi, I appreciate all of those people in my life that did that for me. So I definitely don't want to upset either one of you. I don't want to upset the band or the fans. But, you know, I guess, and part of it was the fact that it was not very clear, and I have a hard time explaining that through words. I usually do it better face to face, and that was the reason why I was hoping to maybe possibly meet Carla before the meet and greet, just to have me a cup of coffee and give her some artwork, because I know she loves artwork and I wanted to hand it to her. I didn't want, plus I also didn't want everybody to get jealous, like, are you gonna bring something for me or whatever. But it's one of those things, because I don't know them as well. Unfortunately, I don't know what each one of them likes, because that'd be kind of cool if I could do something for each one of them, or even just like doing something nice, like cooking them a home cooked meal, because I had thought about that too. But at the time, I was busy doing stuff at doing some basically some work on my house and this, that, and the other. So I was pretty busy at the time, and that was when I upset somebody, and I definitely did not want to upset her, because she's inspired me for my drawing. She's inspired me to think differently about certain things like death and everything else like that. Oh gosh, sorry, my phone's talking to me. Okay, that's weird. Shh. Okay. Anyway, so I want them to know, and I especially want Heidi to know. I apologize, but I think what it is when I heard that, it kind of got me a little upset. It brought back some emotions for me, and I felt kind of like I need to be vindicated to a point, which it's probably the wrong thing to do, because that's not a positive attitude, and I try to keep a positive attitude about things all the time. And I think part is when she was getting upset with the people who work there, those people that work there, and it's less like any other retailer, if they don't know the Butcher Bays themselves, they don't know Carla Height personally, they're not going to know, and they probably don't care. They're there to do a job, and they're probably not getting paid. And if you have tattoos, they're more than likely they'll probably do that, and I can totally get that. And I guess that's how I felt, because they are famous, they're well known, and they sometimes, I think, even though they're human beings and they're just like everybody else, I think sometimes, I'm sure that they too tend to get to the point where they feel like, I'm better than this person over here versus that person, so to speak. Not saying that they are. I'm not sure the type of people they are. Like Kai says, I don't know them. That's a assumption, because I don't know. But that's my how I think, or perspective of it, possibly. Um, and I want them to know that, because I want to be, um, how you say, let them know what that confusion was all about. And I was trying to apologize sincerely about it without coming across as being a total jerk, which I definitely try not to be a jerk. I can be type of person that can be very, how do you say, firm and demanding, and don't take crap from nobody kind of attitude, kind of like Heidi and both Carla. Um, and now there's another point I need to clear up. And this is going to be kind of hard and difficult to. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Basically, what it boils down to is long before the Butcher Babies, long before the boyfriend, a long time before Heidi and Henry was in Carla's life. Because I know the album's been around, what, 11 years, probably a Goliath and before. So they've probably been maybe doing this for maybe 13 years, 12 years, I think, total, with everything. And Heidi might have been in her life then. I don't know for certain because I don't know the whole timeline thing and how everything fits in. I know certain things happen. Basically, what it boils down to, I know she moved to California, and she was doing ads in the center, and that is what gets me to the point of the 17 years. The 17 years is basically roughly about the time my ex-wife left. Um, my son was only about a year old. Um, and I think it was like during that time, about in February, when I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been maybe a year after that, possibly. But anyway, it might have been 16. But what it boils down to is when I was going through all that, I felt like I wanted to be loyal to her. But then again, I also know I had to move on to a point because I know I shouldn't hold on to that. Because she didn't love me anymore, and I was pretty mad. I mean, I had a therapist in my life for a little bit, and I told him to F off because to me, my marriage was the most important thing there is in the world. And when I say I'm going to be committed to somebody, I want to commit to them, which I definitely commend Carla for doing and saying what she said to me. Because she pretty much told me that I'm in a relationship, which I totally get and I totally understand. And that's not what I was asking for. So I hope that wasn't, I just want to make that, how would you say, the wrong way, I guess I didn't want people taking it the wrong way. Um, but the whole thing is, before all that happened, I saw her on an ad, and it was a certain kind of ad, which somebody might say, well, you liked her because of this. I said, no, no, no. It was this, the face, the presence, her, her, her attitude. You could tell that was definitely not acted. That was sincere. It was definitely, and I've seen it lots of times before when she's performing. I've seen it lots of times on others, different things. She can be really funny. She can be really full of life and very cheerful. But boy, when she's mad, she can get very mad. Because I saw her picture on her um, cover of one of her, it was her books of her art. And the little girl that's there, she's got her pigtails. She's so adorably cute then. Um, Reminded me of that attitude I saw. And at first, it took me a while to figure this out because I didn't know it. And then I finally actually confirmed it with a YouTube channel that she had. And I just happened upon, I think I just typed in her name or something. Maybe I don't know what I was looking for. But I figured, why not, right? So I clicked her channel, and then it showed all this different stuff that she's done through her career. You know, like her performances in this. And I think there was something about that she was an extra for um, How I Met Your Mother, which I didn't know, and the Playboy Channel and all this other stuff. And the one that actually got to me was the same commercial I had seen 17 years ago. Now, so you know, when I first saw that, I wanted to get to know her. I don't know what it was. I don't know what possessed me to do it. I've never done anything like that before in my life. I basically did what Carla would say. I said, you don't know until you do it. You basically put yourself out there and make that effort to do it. Well, that's what I did. Because for some reason, there was this thing about the presence. I don't know what it was. I can't explain it. It's like one of those things you just gotta do it. It's gut feeling, I guess you could say. Like there's something more to this person than just a pretty face. And she does and has a pretty face. Even when she was younger, even though she says she's not, she felt like she was not like that at all, but I believe so. But anyway, that's I'm not going to get into all that. But anyway, what it boils down to, when I saw that, I called different companies, the people who made the ad. I even talked to the company that sponsored the ad through their on the TV network, basically the show that it was, which is the NFL, which is a Super Bowl ad that I saw, to find out who the advertising agency was, and I even asked for the commercial advertising department for that company to find out. For 3 years, I tried. I tried all these different avenues and failed every time. And here I am trying to think, okay, what else can I do? And to the point I was pretty much giving up because there's no way. But I said, by chance, maybe later on down the road, I might figure this out, or maybe I'll have some other idea of how to accomplish the goal. Because I was determined. I really was. I was very determined to find out. It's not so much find out who she was. It was more like give her my number. She wants to call me. She can call me. If she doesn't, then fine. I would have ended it. I said, what it is was what it is. Basically, then I found out through the YouTube channel that same ad. Oh my gosh, this. I said, now, what are the odds of seeing somebody that you were wanting to get to know, but could not get to know because there's all these roadblocks in the way? But all of a sudden, it just happened. And I didn't, when I listen to music, I don't usually always like everything I listen to. So I could have, if it wouldn't have been good enough, I probably would have passed over and I never would have known they existed or the band. But maybe eventually I might. It's hard saying. It's one of those things. So, Heidi, that is my full, hopefully, clarifying statement, or I should say, explanation of what that 17 years was all about. Because it was. I've been looking for an individual, which I found out, and then I started to grow to love it. And the other thing is, when my dad was sick, I think that's about the time certain people were, getting together and other people were leaving. And I even knew right away that when I knew she had been married at the time when I first found out about who she was. And I looked at her Instagram page and I go, she's not with her husband anymore because something happened to me there. So I told my coworker this. I said, I almost guarantee it for a fact, because of the things I've seen, the things I've witnessed, I believe, and I'm pretty positive, more than certain, that she's not with her husband anymore at the time. So I was pretty clear. I was pretty good at figuring that out myself. And that's just from just observation, just like a lot of other things I observe about people in general. I'm usually pretty close, not always correct on people themselves, because you see a lot. I've learned about books on body language a little bit. I've seen how people act and do different things. But so I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not certain on any of that or anything about like I said, Heidi or so. I'm hoping that explains that. But I guess for me, for some people, it was the last 7 years she's been with this person, right? At the time. And for me, I've been patiently waiting for 17 years to get to know this person, to go out with them, to maybe start a relationship, possibly. And the thing is, so the band is separate for me between the two. The band is the band, the woman is the woman, and it doesn't matter whether she was, I don't care who she would have been, I still would have wanted to know her, regardless. So, and I guess I got a little upset about the whole I'll always be this or be that, because I don't believe that even though that somebody's well known, doesn't mean that they don't have the opportunity to meet somebody special, somebody that might really care for them. Um, and make it work. You know what I mean? Because you don't know, and you're limiting yourself. To be honest, I think personally, but I understand the whole commitment, and that's one thing I do admire about her is that she is very, very much very loyal to the person she's with, and I totally understand that, like friends and family and everything, and that is one thing I say highly regard in her, because that's how I feel. Like my marriage, when my ex-wife left, I had my ring. She got upset me wearing my ring on my hand when I was going through the courthouse. So I took it off, put it in my left pocket. I kept it there for 3 years. Even though I had noticed somebody else. Plus I actually was trying to get to know somebody else, maybe to move on, to try to maybe start a new relationship with anybody, but I haven't found anything. Every time that I go looking for somebody, that it doesn't seem to quite match up with who I want. Because I'm trying to be really, I shouldn't say picky, but I definitely don't want to have the same thing happening before. Because there's a lot of things that somebody told me they were like me. And they were only doing it to impress me because they wanted me in that relationship with them, which is my ex-wife. And then later on, she does something totally different, and maybe she felt the same way, like I had changed, but I don't know. Um, Kind of like the music I listen to. If somebody doesn't like metal music, they can forget it. You know, if they don't like art, forget it. If they don't like Star Wars, forget it. If they don't like Star Trek, I am a big Star Trek fan too, but I've always been and always will be faithful to Star Wars first and foremost as far as that goes. Plus, I'm also a big comic book fan. I used to watch Incredible Hulk. I love the comic books. My mom didn't quite let me do the Hulk thing too much, but Spider-Man was okay because it was not a green guy, um, and a bunch of other stuff. So those are the things I'm passionate about. Those are the things I love. Though, and even my art. And that was the other thing that drew me to her. See, that's the thing is, even when I thought she was beautiful, and I thought there's something about her is different. I didn't know her. I do know there's lots of other women that I've seen online that I've gotten to know that were very beautiful, but they're nothing like me at all. And you know, as far as I'm concerned, even if you're drop dead gorgeous, you're the probably the most perfect looking woman in the world. If you don't have a personality that meshes with mine, then it doesn't work. But if I get a little bit of both, well, at least as long as she's a beautiful woman, she's attractive, she's smart, she's funny, she's got a good head on her shoulders, personality wise, has the same some of the same interests I'm in, then I'm definitely for it. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody like that. So if there's anybody else out there that sounds like me, hey, there you go. I'm your guy. Possibly. Who knows? And as far as I'm concerned, age doesn't really make a difference as long as you're happy with somebody. Um, there is one thing, and I'm not sure this is going to happen, but 7 months from now, there might be a possible. I don't know. We'll see. It's something I took a chance on. Just for kicks. It was a psychic that actually said they could actually give you a sketch of the person that is your soulmate. I don't know. This would be interesting to find out. So, in 7 months, probably was February somewhere. If all pans out, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So I might not have to worry about the other person. But you know what's really striking about the sketch that she drew? The only difference between that sketch and what I was of the person that I was just talking about was the nose a little bit, her skin color tone, and her hair. But the cheekbones, the eyes, the chin were all pretty much close to the same, which is correct. Now, the attitude, I don't know. The personality, I don't know. The interest, things that she likes and is interested in, I don't know. So we're going to find that out. Apparently, I'm going to meet her at a farmer's market, is what she was saying. I was like, okay, yeah. And I don't usually go to farmers markets that much, so maybe somebody in her family is going to drag her to a farmers market like me because we're not. I mean, I like fresh produce and stuff, but it's not that big a deal. Anyway, boy, this is a long one. So hopefully, when people see this, and I know Clover watches, so don't get all upset, Clover. I still like you a lot, and I appreciate you being a fan and everything, and maybe even more later on. Who knows? If things don't pan out with other things, hey, who knows? We'll see. Time will tell, I always say. Or with the other, you never know. I'll just take it one day at a time. I guess I was getting a little impatient to a point, I think, because on certain things, and I kind of jumped the gun, and that was not really jump the gun. I was trying not to jump the gun, but I was trying to do something to at least explain certain things. That was my main reason for doing what I did. Well, both for one and the other, because I wanted to get that out. I wanted to say that. So if they ever see this, and they do, hopefully they'll understand where I'm coming from. Because it's one of those things. If you don't know, you don't know. And to me, explanation is the best way to kind of get clarity on stuff. Because if you don't know the facts, you don't know. But part of it, I guess, with this whole thing overall, I was shocked and awed that I actually listened to a band years later. It's about 5 or 6 years later after I first initially saw somebody that I wanted to get to know was the same person. And what's the odds of that? That's very, very minuscule. I mean, I probably have way better luck getting struck by lightning than that, or even win the lotto, for God's sakes, than that. Who knows? So it's hard to say, because that's one of those things. So unless they were in the limelight all the time, if they were doing ads and TV things and I saw them, then that would make sense. But this is two totally different things. It was years later, and it wasn't like I was actively saying, "Oh yeah, let me look for other ads for this person," right? Go figure. But anyway, so after this, I will start talking about some other stuff with Met. But I wanted to clear this up, clear the air, so hopefully they'll forgive me, which they don't have to. I'm still going to be a fan well, yes and no. I'm not a fan, but I am a fan. Does that make sense? I'm a fan of, but I'm not. It's one of those things, people. I love the music, this and there, but the whole point of me liking the band, it has nothing to do with the other, if that makes sense, I guess. Because I'm a fan of the person before I was a fan of the band. I guess is what it boils down to. But I don't have to be a fan of the band. I just want to be a fan of the person, if that makes sense. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And I'm hoping to grow with this. And also, by the way, it wasn't just about that stuff, but it was also because I have a passion for metal and getting to know people and talking to people. And I'm good at talking, so that's me. I've always been that way, and I thought, what better way to do it than to do it this way? And I get to do what I enjoy. I get to talk to people. I get to talk to people I want to talk to, and maybe some other people I may not want to talk to, but I'm going to talk to them anyway, because all you guys out there might want to talk to know about them as well, right? From your favorite rock musicians and people that work in the metal, or I say music industry, for the setting up the sets and stuff. So thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good night. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Hope you guys have a great day, and take care.